So I wanted to share before I went to bed one of the techniques that I used to get a job recently. I used ChatGPT to get my current job or what have you. It's one of many that I have, I'll say that much. And the job that I got was six figures, okay? Now, let me tell you something about looking for jobs, okay? A lot of people out here and they know they're qualified, but they're not getting any responses, or they send out their resumes and they think that the resume is going to speak volumes and get a response, and it doesn't. So there's steps to getting jobs, and a lot of people are using search engines like Indeed, I think LinkedIn, and Monster, and there's one called Glassdoor, ZipRecruiters, using all these different platforms to seek jobs. Now, the key thing is, just like any platform, there are scammers out there. So you have to be careful about how you're applying and who you're applying to, to the companies you're applying to. So what you also have to keep in mind is that you have to research the information of the job announcement in itself. So yes, if you see a job announcement, let's say for I'm going to just say Google, right? So you see it that, Indeed has it to where there's a job for Google for some type of network analyst, right? You still have to go to the Google website, look in their careers, and see if that job actually does exist on their career dashboard. Now, that's another thing. Some sites you go to, it's not going to be really, you have to find the careers. You have to search. It may not be because if the company's very commercial, like they are marketing to customers, right? Not so much the job market. You have to dig for that information. Like, for an example, the Marriott. If you might have to scroll all the way down to the bottom and find their link for careers. But if you see it advertised on any other platforms or search engines, make sure you go to that company to see if that job is there. Now, more than likely, you're not just going to send your resume and then that's it. They have options of how you can submit your resumes, especially to these major companies. You can either use your resume that's going to do a manual, you upload it and then it manually does a feed into the fields for you, and then you can actually do it manually. So if you have a resume, Word document, a PDF, you upload it and it's going to fill in those fields for you for the job. Okay, now I'm not going to get too much into like what specifics you should put in and how your resume should look. If I ever decide to do like a tutorial or something like that, I'll include that. But I just wanted to share again how I use ChatGPT to get a six-figure job. So when it does that autofill and it says, like role description, job description, or anything like that, a lot of times you might take what's already in your resume, copy, paste it into that. Don't do that. This is one way of using ChatGPT. If you already have the description in your resume, take that information and you put it into ChatGPT, whether you're using it for free or you have a subscription. You want ChatGPT to massage it, but you want to let ChatGPT know, hey, before you do the copy and paste, you want to tell ChatGPT, can you provide a role description based on the information that I'm about to give or that I'm giving, or based on this information? You could say whatever, and ChatGPT will get an idea of what you're trying to do. Summarize it. A brief role, 2 sentences. Or outline. If you give that specific and then put down what you already have, it'll go ahead and, like I use the term, massage the information. Once you see that information, right, then you have to copy it and then you put it onto like either a notepad or you put it in a Word doc. preferably Word doc, because a lot of times there are still some grammatical errors that you can clean up if you use Word document. With that being said, you want to make sure that words don't repeat too frequently, and that you might have to take out one sentence if it seems repetitive. ChatGPT is not the end all to be all. It's just an assistant to help you organize what you already have in place. Excuse me. So once you take that information and it sounds good, you make sure your tense, past tense, previous, whatever, previous tense, current tense, whatever, you want to make sure it sounds according to what you're submitting. So if you're using a description from your job from 4 years ago, you want to make sure it has past tense in it, right? You want to clean it up, making sure it doesn't have a lot of I's and things of that nature. Again, no repetitive sentences that sound similar. That's a way to use ChatGPT, where the description is a summary of what's already in your resume. Because some of these folks are thoroughly looking at the resume, and then they're also looking at your online application. And also with the role description, even when it auto fills when you upload your resume, there still could be some issues with what's in there in that role description. Like it could be some characters that don't belong. You might have had something where you're using like the I can't think of the word, but it's like you're listing it and it's ... or, that could be all out of focus, right? So you want to clean that up as best as you can with role descriptions, again, using ChatGPT. Now, I'm going to skip ahead. So let's say you get an email from a recruiter. Now watch out for those spam emails, and there's ways to determine how to detect spam emails. So a lot of you guys are responding to these emails that are clearly out to get your information. And when you don't get, heard back from them, you're like, oh, I didn't get, I did this, did that. They asked me for this information and they never returned. Yeah, because that was the point. So one of the things you want to be aware of is recruiters, when they send you an email, they sound personable. They're not going to ask you to send a resume, and if you know anyone else, interested in a position, can you forward? They're not going to do that. It's going to be very generic, like, hey, this is, Brad from company such and such and such. I saw your resume and I wanted to know if you were able to talk this week. That's what it's going to sound like. It's not going to have a rundown of the description. It's not going to have a location. It's not going to have any job codes or how much it is an hour or annually. Is not going to have all that information in that email. So be aware of that. But anyway, when Brad sends you an email, then you use ChatGPT to respond accordingly to Brad. So you can indicate, that you're wanting to respond to this job announcement for this particular job title, and that you're excited to, you can jot down certain words and say, hey, can you provide a response to Brad, for me? And then it'll create a nice little response or what have you. You clean it up, put it in the response, and I guarantee you're going to get a response from Brad. So those are the few things that I would take into consideration when you're looking for these jobs using ChatGPT, because not everybody is great with, written communication. And that seems to be the number one issue when looking for jobs. You might be skilled at the job, but when it comes to communicating effectively, by writing, that might be your downfall. If you want to hear more, if I should break it down and have more visuals, comment below.